John, many thanks for your time here this afternoon. Welcome back to Adelaide.
Yes.
First question, what is it with you and God? When did you get the dog on with him?
I reckon, I remember when I would have been really young, like about 6, and my parents sent me to Sunday school, Jewish Sunday school, and I remember like walking home and my mind being really kind of traumatised or tormented by the whole thing of, on the first day God created the earth, and me thinking what happened the day before the first day, and then I thought, oh, maybe God had parents, but then I was like, oh, but when did his parents... So it's like, yeah, it's basically like a lot of people blame my parents. Or blame my
as God
education.
Figures?
Pardon?
As the God figures?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's pretty screwy for a lot of people, including me, because you kind of, your parents aren't actually that religious, but they throw you into like in my case, a religious school, so it's all confusing because it's not consistent, and then that throws you about. Yeah, so yeah, not good.
Now, you've done many things that those in the church would describe as a lot of the blasphemous side.
Yes.
And I was wondering what your thoughts were when that ball in the grand final, the first of the St Kilda grand finals, bounced in front of Stephen Milne, bizarrely almost, and went through for a behind. As a St Kilda supporter, did you have a voice in the back of the head, something, you know, like God saying to you, "Fuck you, John, this is my moment of payback"?
Yeah. In general, I think I'm finally getting over this, although it might just be a phase I'm going through. I really can't disconnect that when I'm getting punished. I can't get all Richard Dawkins about it and just go it's random. Like, no matter how much I try to kind of like go, all that stuff's not true and I don't really believe it. Like, I think when something bad happens to me, such as what you described, that like it actually is like me getting some kind of payback from God, the universe, that kind of thing.
Have you had to discuss it with Ross Lyon or Kryztoff or anyone else that's senior at St Kilda about that maybe this was the ultimate payback?
No. I generally get like both with that and also on another show on Versus God, I went and got the curse taken off the Australian Socceroos, and I get far more positive feedback from supporters of the Socceroos in St Kilda for my general, good energy that I put out there. They're probably about the only two groups that sort of like, they like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, good on you, John. Everyone else is like chasing me down with batons and stuff.
But you haven't sort of looked to spray blood everywhere to help the St Kilda curse?
Well, I do get lots of requests. Like, you'd be surprised, like especially because of the Socceroo thing, which is weird for me because I did it like years before Australia qualified for the finals at the World Cup, and I'd kind of like forgotten about it because it was just like one story within a whole series. And then the day after they qualified, I started getting all these emails, like about 5, and I was going, what's this? And I couldn't, and then it was like, I'd never got so many emails in my life. So like people had remembered it and were thanking me for taking the curse off. But I get like weird requests based on stories like you said, like about the St Kilda and the Socceroos, and I get really weird requests, like people going, I've seen you've done that, can you do this? And sometimes they're really like just strange, like someone saying, oh, I saw that thing you did with Ray Martin. There was a teacher at our Christian Brothers school who used to beat us up or whatever. Can you turn up to the school and like prank him? Maybe that's a more like a police matter rather than ringing up a prankster.
Now you have your Sunday night show on Triple J with Father Bob McGuire. Perhaps is there a summary thoughts on St Mary and the sainting and all that stuff? Your view on the miracles?
Well, I'd only put one thing on my Twitter account. I put just before the canonisation. I said, warning, or people know that canonisation does not mean that this Sunday Mary McClip will be blown out of a cannon. Just a regular service. So.
Now, if we go back a few years, you were the original Masterchef, where you put a pilot program together as the original Masterchef.
Yeah, I know, I can't believe it.
Do you understand now why your show failed so miserably and Masterchef has been the success?
I know, because they didn't actually show like cows getting bolt gunned and stuff like that. I did see Poe from Masterchef. We interviewed her last week on Triple J, and she used to be a Mormon, and so we only talked about that, obviously, because that was more interesting to me than her cooking. But she really disappointed her parents because they came from Singapore, and they were Buddhist, and then the whole family converted to Mormonism, and then she met this other Mormon guy from a Mormon family, and so both families were really happy their children were going the right way. And then just before the wedding, even though they were getting married, they decided they're not going to remain Mormon, so they didn't get married in a Mormon church. So they robbed that from their both sets of parents.
They feasted on chocolate and ice cream, I
Yes,
suppose. Yeah.
and caffeine.
Do you think the Junior Masterchef would benefit from having slaughterhouse scenes in it?
Well, it's important the kids know this stuff. I think they did know more in the old days. I was reading this Blinky Bill book from, I don't know when that's Australian, is that 1910s, 1920s or whatever? And it's like, it's amazing how much more honest it is about like the death of animals and all this stuff, because the kids would have just grown up on farms and stuff, so it's like, it wasn't controversial to go, anyway, then Blinky Bill, shot a cow, and it's like, what? So I really like old kids things like that, because there's always like some wildly inappropriate thing that you'd never get these days, either to do with violence or race or things like that.
Now, you gained notoriety various times, but certainly one was the Ray Martin incident, going through his rubbish bin and so forth. You sort of feel like, did I do something similar to Matt Preston? Is it one of the judges, vomit on his doorstep or something? What do you think about some of those guys as sort of these superstars?
I actually sat next to him only last weekend, because I was on a panel with him. He's very funny. Like, he's really... So I'd be actually scared he'd come back with better snappy comebacks. And he was like, he wasn't only funny, like, he had this pre-prepared stuff. It's like someone would throw something at him or say something random, and he'd just come back with some really weird and witty kind of rejoinder. So no, I'd be too scared to get him. And I know this makes me sound like I'm some kind of religious obsessive, but he had the coolest bracelet I'd ever seen. It was like this little Catholic saints and Marys, and it was like some bracelets where he like bought different charms and just clicked them on, and it was like 3 chain thick, and they had just like a dozen or so Catholic saints on it.
John, many thanks for your time.
Cool, thank you.